So, who remembers where we left off?
I forgot.
You forgot? Alright. So, we were dealing with Bjork and Seth.
Didn't we come back from the carnival?
They did. They did. They were at a carnival. And they went back to not the monastery, the church, the nunnery. And they went back to sleep after meeting up with a troll who cut off his pinky finger, and a little dude who may or may not have been a gnome, who had a tall, pointy hat,
No.
and was throwing and disappearing a glowing ball.
He's a gnome.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out what he does.
What he does, that's right.
He magics.
How he magics. So, alright, so Bjork wakes up earlier than Seth, because he does that most often. And he gets to work mopping up the floor, because that's what he's supposed to do. And he cleans up and does a great job, because he doesn't want to get in trouble. And after that, he goes and wakes up Seth. He says, hey, so it's still a little early, before noon, before lunch. But I'm thinking that we grab a little snack and we make our way over to the carnival and see if we can't meet up with that little dude and try and ask him for some information, see what he knows. Maybe he could teach us. Maybe he won't. We don't know. So, Seth knows the last couple of days they've been picking a different area of the city and mapping it out and watching the patrols go by. The day before, they had seen 4 different guards, and they had followed 2 of them, but he was planning on following the other 2 today, or one of the 2, so 1 for each of them. But now Bjork wanted to go after this little wizard, maybe. So he's thinking about it, and he says, well, I mean, we could, but why would we? What's the point? I thought we were trying to get into the jails, and I'm not really sure how this guy's going to help us with that. I mean, it was really cool. I'd like to see it, but how does that get us to where we need to be? And Bjork thinks about it. He says, you're right. It probably won't. But I have just got to know how he made that ball disappear. Because I really think it was magic. And I know that there's a lot of old magic that exists in the world, but I've never seen it. So, they nod, they grab a snack, and they head out.
Joey, why are you touching Debbie?
And they make their way over to the club, which is closed because it's only open after dinner. And they make their way over to the club, and behind it is all the carnival tents and the carnival wagons. And they're not set up right now for shows, right? They're all just kind of doing their thing, getting ready for the day. And so they walk in without anybody checking on them. And they're looking around. They see some different performers. They see somebody who's a person that looks kind of like a snake. They look like a person, but they kind of have some scales. They're a little green. They look a little strange.
Does he have sharp teeth?
Well, they didn't ask.
Do you have teeth?
They didn't go up and start poking at their teeth. So they see...
Sometimes on snakes you can sometimes see their teeth.
Okay, sometimes.
Like start looking at them, like get them to hiss.
There is a guy walking a bear. He's got him on a little leash. It's a big bear.
How big?
A big.
How big?
Big.
Big bear.
How big?
Big.
How big?
He's a big bear.
Bigger than you.
How big?
Bigger than you.
Tall.
So.
Is he 10 feet tall?
Yes.
Yeah, and he weighs 2 tons. He's a big bear.
That's a big bear. Okay. So, they see the troll juggler. He is not juggling. He's just walking around. They can't really get a look at his hand, although they're both kind of looking around, trying to get close enough. But he's doing his thing, and he's not really.
Is his pinky healed?
Well, I just told you they can't really get a good look at it.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see, what else is there? There is a ringleader, even though this isn't like a ring circus, but there's a guy with a big top hat who's dressed kind of loud. He's got a bunch of colors on, and he's sitting there, and he's telling people where to put things and where to move things. Basically, they're moving food, they're moving some of the exhibits to different areas, so they can get better shows. And then they see a hat. It's sitting on a stool. It's tall and it's pointy.
And red. And it belongs to a gnome.
And it looks like the gnome's
Santa.
hat. Looks like the gnome's hat.
Ask the gnome.
They don't see a gnome. They just see a hat. So
Fighting a gnome.
they
Well,
walk.
Take it and see. Try to find a gnome.
So they walk over to the hat. And they're looking around.
The hat.
And they don't see a short little guy who belongs to the hat. But it looks like the hat that the guy was wearing last night. So they start looking around, looking under the stool. It's next to a little, like a, what the heck? Like a, not a cafe, like a food truck, but it's not a truck. Like a food cart. There we go. So it's next to like a little food cart.
Ow.
And so Seth goes over and he's going to ask him if they've seen a little guy who belongs to that hat. And he goes over and says, hey, so I see the hat on the stool over there. And we saw the guy's show last night. We were wondering if maybe you knew the owner of the hat. You knew where I could find him. He says, oh yeah. He's the one that's cooking up, they sell fried bananas. And he's like, yeah, he's the one that's frying up the bananas. He's got a pot. And he's peeling the bananas, throwing them in the pot, getting them nice and fried, and then putting them on a pan.
That sounds disgusting.
Oh, you never had fried bananas? They're really good. So, he has fried bananas. He has fried mangoes. He has fried pineapples. And
I don't like pineapples.
you don't like pineapples?
No,
Fried pineapples are very good.
I don't like pineapples. So they
They're
basically
delicious.
fry stuff.
So, he sells a bunch of fried fruit. It's the fried fruit stand. And the guy cooking
Sold by Dan.
is the little guy.
Named Dan.
So, he says he can't talk to you right now. He's busy frying up fruit. And so they say, well, okay, well, when's it going to be done? He says, well, we got to prepare all the stuff for tonight. And then he'll go from here to his show. And then he does the show as long as there's people here. And then he turns in for the night. That's kind of our routine. That's what we do. So if you wanna follow him around and ask some questions, your best bet is to come here after it starts to get dark. Just look for the glowing ball. That's what he does. They say okay. So they go back, and this is only taking a little bit of time. So they go back and they start working through the town again. And the shift has already changed. The guards have already left and gone their different places, so they can't follow. But they can move on to a different section of town and check out a little bit of it, not the whole thing. So they do that for a couple hours. And then, as it starts to get dark, they make their way back to the club and the carnival. And it isn't too long before they find the gnome, who is walking around with his hat, no ball. He has a tray, and on that tray is fruit that has been fried. And he's calling out, he's saying, "Come get your fried fruit, fried bananas, fried mangoes, fried pineapples,
everything. Fried stuff.
fried stuff,
Fried fruit from Dan.
fried fruit."
By Dan.
So,
Fried any.
fried any food.
Fried
So-
chicken.
Ew. Okay, I just thought of something. A fried
Fried
Oh.
fly,
fried
French
burger.
fry.
fried burger.
Yeah.
So they walk up and they say, "Hey, we saw your show yesterday. It was really, really good. Very impressive. And we were kind of hoping that we could talk to you about, how you did it, and if we could maybe learn from you."
A magician never tells his secrets.
And that's what he says. He says, "Look, I'm not to tell you, I'm just a fry cook." And they're like, "No, we saw you yesterday." And he's like, "No, you didn't see me. You saw somebody who looked like me. I just fry the fruit."
He's lying.
You think he's lying?
Yeah.
And they said, no, we saw you. You had this hat. And he's like, "Oh, a whole bunch of us use this hat. This isn't just my hat. There's like 6 or 7 of these hats. We pass them around. This isn't just for me. We've got a lot of these. I just sell the fruit." It's like, no, we saw you. He's like, "No, it was dark. You probably saw someone that just looked a lot like me. We're, us short guys kind of look alike." They're like, no. I'm positive it was you. So they decide they're going to follow him. So they follow him, and lo and behold, he just walks around selling fruit. Now, he does keep an eye on him. He makes sure that if he turns a corner, he waits for him to catch up. It's almost like he wants them to follow him. Kind of weird. But he sells his fruit. And he goes back to the stand, gets more fruit, sells more fruit. And the whole night, they're following him, wondering, at some point, this guy's got a break. And in the wee hours of the morning, 2:30, 3 in the morning, they're super tired. They've been walking around all day. They haven't bought any of the fruits. They're hungry.
Did they not have lunch?
They did not have lunch because they didn't eat. They haven't eaten all day. They totally forgot. They brought a snack, but that's all they had.
Yeah.
So they so they start to so he starts to bring his empty tray back to the cart, and at this point they're starting to second guess themselves. They've been following this guy for a couple hours, several hours. They're tired and hungry, and they're like, "You know what? There are other short people here. Maybe we thought we saw him, and it wasn't really him." And so Seth, and then Bjork looks at him and he says, "But we didn't see anybody else throwing glowing balls. We didn't see anybody else doing that act. It had to be him." like, but it couldn't have been. Otherwise, I mean, that would be far more profitable than selling fruit. So, I don't know. So, as they turn and they start to leave, they hear the little guy yell, well, not yell, but call out from behind them. He says, "Hey, guys." They turn around and he says, "What? Are you leaving?" He says, "Well, yeah, it's time for us to go." He says, "Oh, well, okay then. You sure you don't want to buy some fruit tomorrow?" Bjork kind of looks at him and he's like, well, why would we buy fruit tomorrow? He says, well, you might find what you're looking for if you actually bought something. I was waiting for you all night. You never once tried to pick anything up from me. You know, if you wanted me to teach you something, at least you could have bought my fruit. They're thinking about it and they're like, huh. So all we had to do was buy some fruit?
Yeah.
And he said, no, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said if you bought some fruit, maybe you'll find what you're looking for.
He said both of those things.
Now, they're tired and confused. They don't know what's going on. They look at each other and just kind of huff. They say, okay, fine. We'll think about it. We'll be back tomorrow, maybe. But this is kind of frustrating. And he just chuckles, goes about his way. It's time for them to go. So they head back. They wake up the next day. This is day 4. 5? 4 or 5. Can't remember. I think it's day 5 after so it would have been, so it is 5. Okay. Because they started on the first day and then the second day they started mapping. So, 5th day. And he's got a little bit of time left. So he's doing pretty good. He gets up, he does his chores, and one of the nuns does stop and say, hey, so we didn't see y'all yesterday. We kind of figured that we were going to see you at Mass. We were going to see you at some of the meals. And he says, oh, there's, yeah, I was walking around. I got a little lost. And I started talking to some people. Time got away from me. I didn't mean to stay out all day, but it just sort of happened. She says, okay, well, we were a little concerned about you. You've been doing a great job around here, and we wanted to make sure that you didn't get roughed up or maybe in trouble with anyone. And, we were just thinking about you, making sure you were fine. She says, no, okay. He gets some breakfast, wakes up Seth. He says, okay, so we got to have a plan. I'm not sure, after watching him and thinking about it, that little guy was the guy that we were after. I think it was, but maybe it wasn't. Because if it was, why would he waste his whole night doing nothing but selling fried fruit?
No clue. To get money?
Maybe to get money.
Wonder how much was the fried fruit?
How much was it? I don't know.
I wonder.
You wonder how much?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe you could ask him. So.
Well, it's in a story, so.
They decide that they're going to hang out because they're pretty tired. So they're going to go back to sleep. And they're going to wake themselves up in the afternoon and get some food, get their bellies full. So that they're nice and rested. They're full. They've got their wits about them before they go to the carnival that night. And they're going to try and track this guy down. And so they start walking over. And as they walk up to the club, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, stop trying to hurt your sister. So they walk up to the club, and they don't see the carnival on the other side. They say, hey, so what happened to the
carnival?
What happened to the carnival? And they said, oh, they packed up and they moved on today. I said, what? Where'd they go?
We're gonna buy some fried food.
And he said, "Oh well, this morning they took off. They head east. They went to a different part of town. They're going to be there for one night, and then they are going to leave the town. And they said they're not going to be back for about 8 months." Well, at this point, now they're a little panicked. They rush out to the east, running through the streets. And it does take a little bit, but finally they start to hear some carnival noises. They hear some. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. You're making carnival noises. So they start to hear some rowdy yells. They start to hear some clapping and cheers. Sounds of revelry.
You get suffocated by a panda bear.
And they're suffocated by a panda bear. All right. So as they get a little closer, they can smell the smells of fried food and carnival popcorn. And okay, Kitty, cut it out. You're assaulting your sister. Pay attention to the story. So they get closer. They can smell the sounds of carnival, or smell the smells of carnival. They can hear it. They know they're getting closer, and they come around a corner. And sure enough, the lights hit them in the face, and a rather short giant who's still like 15 feet tall. Well, no, not that tall. It's about 10 feet tall. Steps in front of them as they try and run in and says, "What do you think you're doing?" So, "Well, we're going to the carnival." He says, No. You need to pay up front if you want to get in, just like everybody else.
They normally don't do that.
Yeah, they did. They had to pay to get in.
Really?
Yeah. Seth didn't.
Was that the back?
No. So they pay their giant as little as they can, and they rush into the carnival looking for their little guy with the pointy hat.
There's lots. The person who flies food said, but there's lots of people with the hats.
Yeah, he did say that.
So it would be hard to find them.
Maybe. Maybe he wasn't telling the truth. Maybe he was. But we are going to find out tomorrow. Because now they're at the carnival for its last night before it leaves.
Bum, bum.
This is their last night before to get this little guy to tell them their secrets. Or they're going to lose him for at least 8 months. All right. That is all for tonight.
Stays.
You knocked over my biscuit.
All right. Seriously?
Yes.
The fear in your face.
All right.
I got
All right. Good night.
I